Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm a specialist stop smoking advisor for the Stop Smoking Service in Milton Keynes. This video is hopefully going to give you a very quick snapshot guide on how to use all the NRT products, that's nicotine replacement therapy products, correctly. Some of them are really tricky to use, and I'm sure in previous years some of you may have even tried using the products before without much success. The problem with a lot of the products, like I said, is you only get the best out of them if you use them correctly. So once you've decided what product you want to use, have a look at this video just to make sure that you're 100% clear on how to use them. We've got a whole family of products here. The majority of them are administered orally, but we also have nicotine patches. So we're going to talk about each product in detail shortly, but it's really common, and most smokers tend to use an option called dual therapy, which means you wear a patch plus an oral product. It's totally safe to do that. So it's common to use one of these with one of these. All our products contain nicotine. So in a cigarette there's around 4,000 toxins, but we know that nicotine is actually the least harmful part of the cigarette, but it's also the part that maintains the addiction. And it's actually the part that releases a chemical called dopamine, which tricks your body into feeling very calm. So we know that the nicotine products contain no other toxins apart from nicotine, making them a fantastic, safer alternative to smoking. Okay, so first of all we're going to talk about the nicotine patches. Nicotine patches are a bit like a plaster, so they only contain the nicotine without all the other toxic chemicals. So you wear them on large muscle areas, so tops of the arms, for example, top of your back, lower back, buttocks or outer thighs. And what they do is they give you a fairly consistent flow of nicotine in the background without you having to even remember or do anything. It's really important that you swap where you put the patch every morning, because patches can be really itchy, and that's really common. So if you do get a bit of itching for the first half an hour to an hour after putting the patch on, don't worry or panic, because that's really normal. We've got two different types of patches. We've got ones that you wear for 24 hours, which are here, and ones that you wear for 16 hours, which are here on this side. Generally you wear step 1, which you wear for about 6 weeks. Step 1 is aimed for people that smoke more than 10 cigarettes per day. And then after you're ready, after 6 weeks, you then move on to step 2 and then step 3. If you're in the Campbell Centre for just a couple of weeks, if you smoke more than 10 a day, generally you'll be put on step 1. And both types of patches work in exactly the same way. The difference between the two, the 16-hour patches, which are here on the left-hand side, they give you nicotine after about an hour. So they're aimed for people that like to light up after they've been up and about for an hour. The 24-hour patches, they're really designed for people that smoke within half an hour of waking. So if you do like a cigarette first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, the 24-hour patches may be better for you, but they're both very effective. So just remember to make sure you pop the patch on a large muscle, alternating every morning to avoid the skin irritation flaring up. You'll also need to get your nurse to cut along the line here before you get the patch out, because they're really tough to open. So if your nurse could just snip the patches along, and then you can get them out and then pop it on your skin. Okay, so the inhalator is a great product and very popular. It's popular because it gives you the same hand-to-mouth action which you would have with your cigarettes. Again, it only contains the nicotine, and the nicotine is in the form of a cartridge. So you'll get a few strips of the cartridges, and you basically open it up a bit like you would a fountain pen. So you pop in the cartridge, push the little lines here together and twist, okay? It's not like smoking a real cigarette. You need to take short, sharp tugs. So little and often. So the ideal way to do it is to just not take it too much further than your throat. So you're keeping the nicotine in the mouth and throat. So short and sharp, tiny tugs. I'm not going to actually use it for real. I'm just going to demonstrate. So okay. Nicotine has a naturally peppery taste, so it may taste a little bit peppery. And it's quite important as well that occasionally you angle the end so that it hits your cheek rather than your throat, because you can end up with a bit of a sore throat. So just angling it to the cheek every now and then will help. Lozenges are another really popular choice. They're a bit like a mint. They're really, really tiny. But they're not like eating or sucking a normal mint. So it's really important that you follow the technique correctly to get the best out of them, because if you just swallow them whole or crunch them, the nicotine will end up being swallowed, it will be wasted, and it will sit on your chest and make you feel quite poorly. So what you do is you pop one in your mouth and you suck on it for a couple of minutes. There is a temptation to crunch, but just keep sucking and then park it in between your gum and your cheek lining for another couple of minutes. Then bring it back again and repeat. So it's suck, 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 park, suck, 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 park, and so on. What's happening is the nicotine inside the lozenge, which are mint flavoured, is going into your bloodstream through your gum and mouth lining. So it's quite a slow acting product. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes before you actually feel like you've had a bit of nicotine. So it's really important that if you know you're craving a cigarette and you're going for a cigarette at 11 o'clock, it might be wise to pop one of these in your mouth at about 5:02 before it actually starts giving you nicotine in your system. So there's a couple of different brands, but they come in varying strengths. Normally you'd start with 4 milligram, which is the strongest one, but we do have ones available in 2 milligram and 1.5. The microtabs are another NRT product that you can use. They're very, very discreet and they're really easy to use. So you don't have to remember a technique. There's no minty taste. They're unflavoured, which can actually give you a bit of a dry mouth. So that's one of the downsides. So because they're unflavoured, it can leave a slight unpleasant taste. So what you do, they're so tiny, in fact I'm not going to get them out because they're so microscopic you won't be able to see them on the camera. But what you do is you pop the tiny little white peel under your tongue and leave it there. There's no other action to make. And obviously the microtab will dissolve, and then after about 4 minutes you will get that nice nicotine release, making you feel a little bit calmer. And we'll give you gel strips are stronger than the other products you've seen, apart from the Quick Mist mouth spray. Gel strips contain 2.5 milligram of nicotine, and it is advised that you don't exceed 15 strips per day. They're quite tricky to get into, so there's a line that you fold along the top and press, and then twist to open. So they can be quite complicated, and the stress of trying to get into them alone can make you want a cigarette. So they look like a mini nicotine patch actually, but they're mint flavoured. And what you do is you pop it on your tongue, and then pop your tongue to the roof of your mouth and just leave it to dissolve. Obviously don't swallow them whole or suck them, just let them dissolve. And these work really, really quickly. They give you a nicotine release in about 50 seconds. A real cigarette will give you nicotine release in about 8 seconds. So as you can see, they're actually very fast acting. Okay, so we're now moving on to our final product, which is a discretionary product. So you have to be assessed in order to use this, but it's called Quick Mist mouth spray. It's a very, very popular product, but it is probably the hardest one to get right. So first of all, just getting into it can be a bit difficult. So it's actually child lock, so you need to keep your thumb down, press inwards and up. Okay, so you can't just push it up, you need to keep the weight of your thumb down, okay? It's not like using a normal breath freshener. You don't simply spray it down your throat and that's it, job done. If you do that, you'll feel a bit nauseous, you'll have hiccups, and the nicotine will sit on your chest. So what we advise is you spray the mouth spray on your cheek lining. So the cheek lining is actually going to absorb the nicotine, and it comes out in a very minty flavoured strong jet. Each jet contains 1 milligram. So what you do, use your thumb rather than your finger. You'll have an easier reach into your mouth. So if you imagine this is going into my mouth, okay, so that's in my mouth, I spray once, and then optional, you can spray again this side. It's really important, and this isn't particularly very polite, but we don't ask you to swallow your saliva, because the saliva will have the quick mist in. So again, if you swallow your saliva, you'll just waste the nicotine. Give it a couple of minutes and then dispose of your saliva in a polite way. And then you will get that lovely calming feeling as if your cravings are fulfilled after about 50 to 90 seconds. So they're about as fast acting as the oral strips that we spoke about earlier.